Hello BookTube. Last week I made a video where I gave you some mandatory reads for this channel to understand the law and all that stuff. And I thought it's been a week, you've read all of them already, or you've ordered them and are on their way. And I thought I'm going to do a part two because you could be reading more. And so I have here um, short stories, some novels, some biographies, like non-fiction, everything. There's some romance too, because we love I can't even say that word. We love different genres and whatever on this channel. So anyway, let's get started. So we're going to start off with some romance, and we have here this Sabrina Jeffries' Duke Dynasty novels. Some of the greatest modern Regency novels I've ever read. We have Who Wants to Marry a Duke here. We have The Bachelor. We have Project Duchess. Yep. And Undercover Duke. Now, I kid you not when I say Project Duchess and The Bachelor are genuinely some of my favorite romances ever. I love these books to death. I love Undercover Duke and Who Wants to Marry a Duke as well, but those first two books just knock it out the park. And honest to God, my Sabrina Jeffries, one of my favorite romance writers, just on those two alone. I've read much outside of those four books from her, but I've read her most recent one, Hazardous to a Duke's Heart, as well. And yeah, she's lovely. If you haven't, these are essential reading if you want to understand what I like about historical romance. And so I'll try the first two, Project Duchess and The Bachelor, if you want to just get a taste, but all four are really great. So we have that. Next, we have a classic here, Cervantes, Don Quixote. I've read this book so many times. I want to reread it in July, and it'll be like, I kid you not, my third time. I love this book to death. It could honestly be my favorite fiction book ever. I can't even. It's scary how modern this book is. I honestly think you could literally release it as historical fiction now, and it would not show its age at all. And that is terrifying for a book that came out in the 1600s. It doesn't feel like anything that came out during that time period. And it's just so deeply iconic, and I love it to death. I love the second part where it goes on like satires itself, and I'm like, what are you doing, Cervantes? Like, it's insane, and I can't get enough of it. So I do for a reread because I want to reread it every year, and maybe July will be that time. But you know this book. It's Don Quixote. Like, it's everywhere, and so yeah, read that. You can do that in a week. Next, we have another old-time favorite, and that's Mr. Kafka. I am a Kafka girly at heart. I've read all of Kafka's fiction. I've picked out this is his short stories, but his novels are lovely too. And what do I need to say? You know the short stories of Kafka. In the Penal Colony, The Judgment, of course, Metamorphosis, literally everything. The Bridge, of course, The Great Wall of China's in here, everything. I just deeply respect and love Kafka. I think he's so modern and so relevant. I think Kafka would be amazing taught in schools, if I'm being a bit honest. But yeah, one of my things I've been thinking about Kafka is I never understood how people think Kafka's so depressing. Like, I get it, but at the same time, he thought his stories were the funniest thing ever. And I wonder, what was, when he was writing these stories, what story did he laugh at the hardest? And for me, like, I think people would think, the metamorphosis, because, he wakes up into a bug. I can see Kafka finding that funny. But let me know in the comments, what did you think the story he found the funniest to write? This is a bit dark, but I always kind of thought it was The Judgment, because I don't know why. I think, it would be so personally traumatizing for Kafka to write that, and maybe he would have found that funny in a weird way. But anyway, we have Kafka here. He's lovely and essential reading. He can go toe to toe with Virginia Woolf as my favorite modern writer in terms of like fiction and all that. I love him to death. Then we have some non-fiction here. We have an introduction to the New Testament by Raymond Brown. This is Raymond's pretty much breakdown of the entire New Testament, and this could have been 4 volumes long. This could have been triple its size, and I would have not cared. I love this book to death. This is if you're gonna have one like a resource book for the New Testament, make it this one here. There's also an abridged version, but again, it's you want the full version because he goes into more detail. But Brown is just on a new level. I love him to death. He is such a great writer. I love his resources. I love the way he thinks about the New Testament. It just blows me away. Whenever I actually go back to the New Testament, I read it. I pick up this and have it on the side as well. Like, it's just so incredible. It's such a feat of Bible like scholarship, and I just love it to death. I haven't read anything else by Brown. I know he done the books, the nativity story, and the death of Jesus, and those were 2 volumes each, and I haven't found those. I need more. That's literally all I think. I need more Raymond Brown in my life because this is a feat in of itself. This testament, what he has to say about the breakdown of the Gospels are lovely. His books on the letters of Paul are iconic, and Revelations. Oh my god, I can't even. It's so iconic. Please pick it up. It's worth the investment in money because it's just so iconic. Next, more non-fiction, we have Cultish by Amanda Montell. This came out like 4 years ago. Oh, that makes me feel old. But I loved this when it came out. Amanda Montell as a whole, as an author, I'm not really impressed with. I didn't mind her debut Word Slut or The Year of Magical Thinking that came out last year. I thought that was a flop, if I'm being a bit honest. But Cultish was just, it's probably one of my favorite books about cults. It talks about the language and how they indoctrinate people. It is so lovely. I love the chattiness of Montell's writing. It's very personal at times too, where she talks about her dad and what he went through with cults, and it just works, and I just love it to death. If you want a book about cults, more about the process of how they induct people and all that, this is your go-to. The cover's iconic. It's a wraparound to the back. It's so iconic, and I love this book, and I hope she writes more stuff that I like. Okay, next we have another biography. Oh, I haven't talked about other biographies. Oh, don't worry about that. We have God, a biography here by Jack Miles. I've mentioned this on my channel before, but I kid you not when I say this is probably the most iconic, like well-written books I've ever read. It is a narrative history of God throughout the Old Testament, and it is just stunning. It blew me away. I've also read Christ, which he done the same thing for Jesus with the New Testament, but God is just a feat of and of itself. I adore Jack Miles's writing. He is just oh my god. Pick this book up if you find a copy. It is stunning. It is truly one of the greatest things I've ever read, if I'm being honest. So we have that. And then we're going to pick another biography too. And this is one I've recently held on my channel, but it's Augustine, Conversions to Confessions, by Robin Lane Fox. I read this a couple years after it came out when I was first getting into Augustine. Loved it. This is probably my favorite. I've only read this one of Augustine. I know Peter Brown done a biography of Augustine too that I need to find. But in terms of the ones I've read, this is literally my favorite. This only talks about Augustine's life when he was writing the Confessions. So it's a biography of a memoir, which is a bit weird, but it's just amazing. The detail that's in this book is so iconic. The way Robin frames Augustine's life and what he goes through is just so lovely as well. If you're gonna do one book that besides the works of Augustine, just make it this one. You'll love it. So we have that. And lastly, I can't be me without putting an Australian author here. And I thought I've read this author on the channel I don't know, a week ago, and it's Henry Kendall. He done lovely nature writing, and it's poetry. There's some verse in here. Again, I'm gonna be reading more of him because he's so lovely. And yeah, pick him up because find an edition of him anywhere. I don't think he's in print anymore, but if you want great nature writing, he's definitely in the public domain by now. And yeah, it's very lovely. And essential reading if you want an Australian poet and you like that type of nature writing as well. So that's your daily, your sorry, not your daily, your weekly mandatory reads to understand this channel. Let me know what you thought about these books in the comments below. Have you read them? And yeah, will there be a part 3? Who knows? Maybe I can find more. But anyway, that was some mandatory reads. And yeah, thank you so much for watching BookTube, and I'll see you next time.